Alright, you are back with comedian David Boyle, and I'm quitting alcohol. And so Melbourne has been struck again. More fucking drama in Melbourne. It's like this whole fucking city is built on Aboriginal land or something. Cursed Aboriginal land, which it is. There was a massive storm last night, 130k winds, knocked down a few trees, killed a few people. Tough way to go out, the old tree falling on top of you. You can't fucking plan for that, can ya? There's no vaccine for the tree falling on top of you, is there? I mean, you spent the last 5 months socially distancing, sterilising your hands, wearing a mask, doing all the right things. Next thing you know, tree fall dead. How safe are you really in this world? You're never safe. Anything could happen. You could be eating a bag of Doritos watching Plandemic and a sharp fucking edge gets in your throat and you're fucking gone. You're like, they're trying to kill us, then boom, Dorito, dead. My brother almost choked to death on a fucking corn chip. It was at all-you-can-eat Pizza Hut, funnily enough. Where else was it going to be? Well, we spent our whole fucking childhood there. Of course it was going to be there. He must have been making a bowl of makeshift all-you-can-eat Pizza Hut nachos and just copped a bad corner. I remember it. His face went fucking purple. Everyone was standing around. Luckily, Dad was there. Dad still had no fucking idea what to do. But in the end, Dad did save his life. I think he was like 50-50 on whether he was going to try for most of it. But he was purple. He grabbed him, put him in a bear hug and just fucking squeezed him. And the little edge came out. And here's the thing about almost choking to death on food. It's a little bit of an anticlimax. Unless the person dies. If the person dies, then there's chaos. But if the person survives, you've just had a little bit of a shock. It doesn't mean the whole family packs up from all-you-can-eat Pizza Hut and heads home. It just means, whoa, that was a scare. Have you had dessert yet? Then you're sitting across the table from your redhead, almost dead brother, and he's got chocolate sauce and ice cream on the side of his cheek. So if you die choking on food, I don't think you see the light. I think that's the only time you don't get to see the light and have like a spiritual epiphany. Like, you know, when they interview people who have had near-death experiences and they're like, I just felt a quiet calm. I was in this room. It was just white, bright light, and I just felt like I was home. If you interview someone who almost choked to death on food, they'll be like, I was only 3 bites into my Big Mac when an inch of McDonald's plastic straw was lodged in my throat. It must have been in the burger. And the only thing that came to my head was, I haven't started the fries yet. I haven't even had a fry yet. Lord, just get me through this so I can finish my fries. So yeah, it was a big storm in Melbourne last night. And mysteriously what's happened overnight is now Melbourne's water is contaminated with COVID-19. Can you believe that? The fucking water is now contaminated with COVID-19 in 80 suburbs. Every single suburb surrounding where I live is contaminated except for my suburb. I don't know how the fuck that is, but this is a rich area. Maybe they have access to better water. I'm not rich, obviously. I'm renting a shit apartment in a rich area. That's what you do. You get a piece of shit apartment surrounded by mansions, and you'll get a little bit of runoff from their protection. So all the historically shitty suburbs surrounding us are all contaminated except for where I live. So we've been on hard lockdown for a month now, and now the water's coming to get us. Stay in your house still, I bet ya. You gotta stay in your house still. You can't drink the water, you gotta boil it now, they're saying. You gotta boil the water. Don't drink it. Stay inside, though. Honestly, what's next? It's just a joke now. It's all funny to me now. Now everyone's panic buying water. People will be drinking their own piss over the next 2 weeks. It's going to get wild for these last 2 weeks. No one's going to shower. Everyone's going to come out like a fucking caveman and woman. Who gives a shit? Anyway, for the rest of the world, tonight is Friday night and you're allowed to leave your house. And what I want you to do is make a fucking ruckus. And you need some inspiration. And that's why I do Fucked Up Fridays. It's a segment I do on this podcast, my only successful segment, where listeners write in and tell us some of their best war stories. And I've had some fucking crazy stories sent in. Go listen to them. And if you're a new listener and you want to send me a story, hit me up on social media. I'm Boyle Comedy on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Send it in and I'll read it out. So this one was sent in by my man out there in LA, the fucking barbecue king and thrift junkie. I'm not going to say his name. You know who you are. Thanks for sending in the story. So here it is. Fucked up Friday for this week. So when I was 22, I got... I'm not going to say that first line because the first line is the whole story. That would be like saying, yeah, the prince fucks Cinderella in the end anyway. Alright, I'm not going to say that. Let's build some fucking tension here. Let's story tell, baby. Okay, so he was 22. I was fresh out of a bad breakup and on a tear. Yeah, those 22-year-old breakups, they sting a little bit. Because you're not used to it. It's probably your first or second girlfriend. But you're young enough to go on a fucking bender. And that's better than being in a relationship anyway. I was at my buddy's house drinking and decided to head out to this terrible dive on the south end of town that I regularly haunted. Now, I'll tell you this. I've been to the States a couple of times now, and there is nothing I love more than a fucking legitimate, fucking dirty, dark dive bar. Not a fake dive bar. You can tell a fake dive bar. I mean a fucking skanky Skid Row piece of shit dive bar. Ones you're not going to find on fucking Yelp. Okay, so we were drinking 151 and beer until closing when my buddy met an old barfly that wanted to go back to her place to keep drinking. I'm going to assume she wasn't a good sort, an old barfly. But you got to go back anyway. I don't think it was for fucking. Was it for fucking? No. So I got in my truck and they got into her SUV and headed towards her house. Or at least I thought. She decided to jump on the southbound freeway and started gunning it. I chased them down about 35 miles and saw my buddy passed out in the passenger seat. And all of a sudden, her SUV starts fishtailing and crashes into the divider of the freeway. She was probably trying to light a fucking dart. Dropped her lighter, was down near the accelerator. She thought she could take her eyes off the fucking road for a minute. She picked up her lighter and she's just fucking out of control. So I raced up to the next exit and got back on the highway to see if they were okay. Some good Samaritans and a cop were there when I pulled up. Fuck, man. To cut a long story short, they weren't in bad shape, but the cop saw that I was obviously drunk, so he took me and her in. That was a shitty night in the drunk tank, with an old farting slob and shit smeared on the wall above the wooden bench. My sis picked me up the next day and helped me get my truck out of impound. 2 days later, another buddy and I decided to start day drinking. My favourite drinking. Day drinking. We were drinking at a car show and it carried over to the same old filthy dive I was at before. I saw some old acquaintances there that wanted to head to another bar in town, but my buddy was tired. Is that the same cunt that was passed out in the passenger seat in the car crash? If it was, this cunt needs to develop a cocaine habit. So I took him to my parents' house where he did the right thing and went to sleep. I quickly headed to the other bar but didn't end up making it there. As I exited the freeway, I took the corner way too fast and did a 180 in the middle of the road, right in front of a cop. I quickly pulled into a gas station, but he knew what was up. There goes another night in the drunk tank. I just remember the cops asking me if I was suicidal because I was wearing a suicidal tendencies shirt and telling me I didn't need to smile in mugshots. Yeah, don't smile in mugshots. This is how you want to look in mugshots. You want to look like you're about to burst into tears. Just in case the judge ever needs to look at the mugshots. You don't want to be sitting there with a big fucking smile on your face. That's what my mugshots look like. It looks like I had just stopped crying, like 2 seconds before the photo was taken. In some of them, yeah, I might have been crying a couple of seconds beforehand. So at the end of the story, there's a little bit of the old, I'm just glad I didn't hurt or kill anyone with my recklessness, which is very nice of you. And it finishes up with, I didn't get my license back for 5 years after that. Holy shit. From 22 to 27. That's some brutal age with no license. Although, at least you don't have to be designated driver ever during those times. Fuck yeah. That's the way. Anyway, don't drink and drive, folks. Thank you for sending in the story. Enjoy your weekend. I'll see you the fuck later.